Hey everyone, Carbox here. Today I'm back with a different type of video in which we'll be talking about how I prevent myself from burning out of the game. Everyone goes through this at some point. You feel a lack of motivation, nothing is appealing to you, and everything seems pointless. Yet, deep down, you really want to play, but you just don't know what to do. That's honestly way more common than you think, and up until the most recent milestone event, even the most populated areas of the game only felt like shadows of themselves. Now though, with people slowly coming back thanks to the milestone event and also the very near release of Endwalker, everything seems to be coming back into order. However, this video isn't only applicable now. The concept of burnout is not a thing that's specific to a single point in time where everyone decides to stop playing, but rather something more personal. It usually happens when people have cleared the content that was offered and that really appealed to them. The best example is the recent and very noticeable drop in player count following the release of patch 5.55. Obviously, drops in player population, and especially those of that scale, do have an impact on a lot of people. Peer pressure is huge in the grand scheme of things, so chances are if your friends stop playing altogether, you might feel the burnout coming. However, there are some ways to prevent that. This video will be heavily subjective, and of course I don't expect everyone to agree with or be willing to try all the methods I'm going to list here. Those are simply tips and strategies I personally use to prevent myself from burning out. The first practice I have is to constantly have a list of goals that I want to reach. As with all things in life, your goals are what allow you to keep going, and it's also true in Final Fantasy. I typically try to have some short-term goals that I can work on without really thinking about anything. Those can range from leveling jobs to working on Beast-Tribe quests, for example. I also always establish a long-term goal, one that I give myself an extended period of time to reach and that I can work on once in a while. Short-term objectives don't need to be complex or strict. The point here isn't to set objectives left and right, such as I need to max out this job's level by the end of the week, and then be disappointed if you don't. With that in mind, I would personally avoid giving any measures to your goals, only set an objective that you want to reach and work towards it at your own pace. For the longest time, my long-term goal was to get the Demi-Ozma mount, and that requires you to clear Eureka and its final dungeon. Needless to say, it's not something that you do in just a couple hours, and it's been my long-term goal for almost a year and a half, I think, since I was working on and off on Eureka. Once I cleared that, I set myself a new goal that would take a similar amount of time, since I was satisfied with the last one. Finding this comfort zone is crucial in your objective-setting journey, but experiment and see what your interests are. You'll most likely find something perfect for you. The next tip I can give is very cliche, but it's to simply try out new things. Most players will settle down in the type of content that they know and never explore anything beyond that. In my opinion, that's a mistake which could prevent you from enjoying the game to its fullest. Having a wider variety of things to do is always good to fight boredom and the general feeling of burnout that the lack of new content can bring. It also serves a rhythm purpose. If you're tired of running content and want something more relaxing, pick up the fisher job. Tired of fishing and want to get creative, you could try your hand at role-playing and see if that's for you. There's so many aspects to this game and so many things to accomplish that it's virtually impossible not to find at least two things that you'd be into. You can try collecting mounts, titles, equipment for glamour, completing the fishing log, the sightseeing log, your Blue Mage spellbook, the triple triad card collection, max out some jobs, be it crafter, gatherers, or combat jobs, just to name a few things. There's so much to do and such a broad variety of things to discover and experience that it would be a real shame not to at least try everything you come across once. It's not like it would cause any harm after all, and if you really don't like it after trying, then at least you will be sure of it. The next tip I'll give is to be social and talk to people. This one here is a bit harder for people who have trouble connecting with others, and I know I was like this before, but it's something you can work on and certainly overcome in most cases. You need to remind yourself that this is an MMO, which stands for Massively Multiplayer Online. Some people will say that while yes, it is, it doesn't mean that they need to talk to people or to be social to play the game. And they'd be right. There's plenty of ways to avoid social interactions as much as possible, and if that's really not your thing, then fair enough. However, I strongly believe that Final Fantasy XIV is best enjoyed when you can forge those bonds with the people you meet. From my experience, almost everyone who just randomly stopped playing do so because of a few reasons. The main one is that they don't have any friends to play with. That was my case before when I tried picking up the game for the first few times. The feeling of discovery and novelty drove me to keep playing, but only for so long. After a while, the game made me feel lonely more than anything, and I eventually stopped playing. The key difference between the times I dropped the game and the one time it clicked for me was that I joined a free company and connected with people. I basically made friends. Having people guide you in your first steps can be the difference between quitting and staying, but the opposite is also true. Having now the knowledge that people passed on me, I feel like one of my main motivations is helping others, just like I was helped. Finding what makes you want to play the game is of the utmost importance, and that calls back to the first topic we talked about, setting objectives. Nobody's the same. We all play for different reasons, and sometimes more reasons than we care to admit. I'll make myself an example. I play the game because I like feeling like I'm progressing and evolving with time. I like to see my efforts pay off, and the game checks that box for me. I also like interacting with people, and that's basically why I decided to create my own free company. That way I'm always at the center of things, and I like planning events too. I also love collecting cool looking weapons, and lastly, I like helping others. That's another of the reasons why I created my FC, and also why I'm making videos in the first place. I send myself back in time when I was still only a sprout, and I try to manage the FC in a way I would have liked if I was recruited in it. I also try to make videos on topics that I'm interested in and that I would watch myself. Looking at this, it's possible you recognize yourself in parts of what I said. It's also possible that you don't see any resemblance at all, and that's fine too. We all play for a unique set of reasons, and while some of them might be similar, the degree of importance we put into all of those, as well as their combination, are the things that make our overall driving force completely unique. This is why there's no secret formula. You just need to figure out what it is that you want. Also, if you really are burned out and don't find any fun in the game after trying to find some, that's fine too. Taking breaks can also help a lot. I just haven't needed one yet by employing these methods, so I thought I would share them with you. Just establish some goals without any time limit and slowly chip at them. Try new things, get out of your comfort zone, and don't limit yourself to what you're used to. Finally, ask yourself why you play the game in the first place. Identify concepts and things that make the game fun to you, and focus on those. This video was a tiny bit more philosophical than the content I usually put out, but I hope it helped, even if only one person. The next few weeks might be a bit more calm, since we're in the home stretch for Endwalker's release, but after we get our hands on it, you can expect lots of videos on everything Final Fantasy XIV. As always, many thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, and I'll see you in the next one.